All right.
Have you ever wondered why you struggle to find success or fulfillment or lasting happiness? It's probably because your default wiring is set to lose. The How to Win at Everything podcast looks at real people who have struggled with the same insecurities, fears, doubts, and expectations and found a way to succeed. Why? Their brains are rewired for success. We dive into their thought patterns to show you how to rewire your own brain to win at everything.
All right, all right. I got my fellow Chicagoan brother here, Marchel Rogers, fellow coach, financial coach, Marchel Rogers. So thank you so much for coming on through tonight, my brother. How are you this evening?
Hey, we are blessed by the best, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to join you, man. I'm super excited and man, ready to have a great dialogue and conversation with you, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. So to start off, usually what I want to do is give you the floor, man, so you can tell people a little bit about yourself. So I did mention, obviously, you're a fellow Chicagoland brother. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about where you come from and what you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate that. So yes, definitely born and raised in the Chicagoland area. I'm actually out in the western suburbs, out in the Aurora area, and born and raised out this way, you know. So ended up graduating from a school out in Aurora, very small private school actually. Went down to SIU down in Carbondale, had a 4A scholarship, played a little football, you know, and unfortunately, you know, got injured my junior year and gave up my scholarship, man. And you know, the NFL never came calling, but my high school teacher did give me a call. And she said, and I'm so thankful that she called me and she said, hey, you know, you know, the NFL is not going to come calling you, but you need to consider going into education. Yeah. And I said, you must be crazy. You don't know who you're talking to, you know. And she said, listen, if you go into education, you won't be wealthy, but your life will be rich. And man, that just felt very good to me. So went into education, got my teaching degree from Southern Illinois. Go Dogs, go Saluki Dogs. And ended up marrying my high school sweetheart. And man, I became a health education teacher, driver's ed guy, and coached in varsity football. And you know, for those who are educators on the in the meeting today, you know, if you're in education, you know, to make more dollars, you got to get more degrees. You get more degrees, you go deeper into debt. And so had a lot of student loan debt, ended up getting 2 master's degrees in education. And man, the student loan debt really swallowed us up, man. And my wife and I, you know, me and my high school sweetheart, had 3 kids. And I just began climbing that corporate ladder, you know, became a dean of students in a very large high school, you know, community district out in Naperville. And then I became a high school assistant principal at another great school district, District 211. And man, loved it, you know. And as we made more money in education, you know, money came in the front door, left out the back door. And now we're like, man, we're in student loan debt. We don't know how to manage our finances. And so we sat down with the financial coach, man, and she was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooled her kids, and began educating us on the rules of money. And we fell in love with it. You know, we never had anybody before teach us how money works. And so we became clients of hers, and we learned about how to invest, how to save, how to budget, how to protect our family. And it was really good information. And so, you know, we just called her up and said, hey, how do you do this? You know, I know people that are looking for financial education as well. And I ended up getting my licenses part-time and through a great company called Primerica. And man, it was revolutionary for us, man. And ended up working part-time for a couple of years, actually a year and a half, ended up resigning from education, and now I'm a vice president, you know, at the company, and still out here in the Chicagoland area, man, loving helping families and really just teaching about how money works. And I think that's what we'll probably talk a lot about tonight.
Man, that's about as good a place to start as any. So with that being said, let me jump right into some of your qualifications here. So you said you got the 2 masters. When I put this out on LinkedIn and on Facebook, man, I mentioned them, but go ahead and tell us. You got 2 master's degrees. What are they in?
Yeah, educational leadership and curriculum and instruction, you know, and both of those allowed me to go into administration.
So you should be a pretty good teacher at this point, then, right? Like you should be pretty good at dispensing
Hey,
information, right?
yeah, thankfully, yes, sir, yeah, man. Yeah, it has some good training, and even those who are educators, man, we know that the schooling was great, but man, that real life experience, there's nothing like it, man. So I'm indebted to the mentors in my life who came alongside of
Right.
me, helped me to learn about how to build relationships and to become a great educator, man. And so I'm very thankful to those who went before me and laid that great foundation.
And you were in education, the education field for about 13 years, right? So you dug in. You got some practice in.
Oh yeah, real life experience, man, and we loved it. Those of us who are teachers, and of course I resigned, but I still call myself a teacher, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a calling. I mean, you really feel like you're called to that profession. I mean, and you may not earn the money that you're worth,
yeah,
and but you go into it because you feel like there's something that you can give back to other
yeah.
people, and that's what teachers are really great at.
So look, I wanna before we get to talking a little bit more about what you specialize in, I want to kind of get a little bit of a rounded out idea about you as a person, you as a man.
Yeah.
So when I looked at your information, you had you had like the priority list. Can you tell me what was first, second, and third on that list?
No, I appreciate you asking. Yeah. So God first, family second, business third,
All
and
right.
yeah, I definitely live my life by those principles for sure. Yeah.
Good. I want to make sure that any of the guests who get to see this and who are listening to you, they get an idea of who you are. Because I think sometimes, man, as coaches, we come off as salespeople because usually it's one of those things where we have to sell ourselves. We have to help people understand uh, how we provide value, and I think it gets misconstrued sometimes as sometimes we're trying to sell you on something. So I just want everybody to know that there's nothing that Marchel is going to do here tonight that's going to cost you guys anything. Everybody, like he's going to give us some information to us for free, and we're gonna actually learn some things. So now with that, man, let me jump right into what it is that you, well, you know what, I'm sorry, before I go into that, I want to give a little bit more about your background. You said that you were licensed. What are you licensed in?
Yeah. So I do full financial planning. So investing. So we have it's called your series licenses. So teach me
Mm-hmm.
about mutual funds and how to invest. So Series 663 is what I have in my life insurance license, and really any other certification that kind of comes along with that for
Mm-hmm.
annuities and different things that I mean there's a plethora, and then we'll get into this. There's a plethora of products that when you start to get into the financial sector, you have to be certified, and we have to pass a background check and go through those certification process.
Mm-hmm.
And the very unique thing about all that, man, is that they are very prestigious licenses, but I didn't go to school for finance. I
Mm-hmm.
just saw the need in our community to do it. And
Yeah.
so I walked through to get those licenses, and they're attainable, man. Especially, I want to make sure that we debunk the myth that people can't obtain those licenses. And you may be on this call or in this chat right now. You're like, man, I want to learn. Man, go for it. Don't let anybody hold you back. I mean, there's some
Mm-hmm.
studying involved. Hey, I haven't been in school in 5, 10, 15 years. We want to baby step that process, man. So those licenses are legit. They allow me to do a great job for my clients, and
Mm-hmm.
have the certifications to make sure that people understand that I do know what I'm talking about. I've been certified, verified by the state, by the federal government, and
Mm-hmm.
we're able to help people to move forward to make great financial decisions for themselves.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for explaining that. That's a great segue into kind of the story you started off telling a little bit about having that financial debt because of student loans and that sort of thing. And Lord knows, a bunch of us have student loans.
Yeah.
This is a big thing. That being said, can you walk us through how you see or where you saw this being a major issue? What drew you into this when you started to see like how that financial literacy wasn't happening?
Yeah, yeah. So it was first in my own home, I mean, having these degrees and then realizing like, man, I have all these degrees, but you were still struggling financially, making great income. and we're
Yeah.
still struggling financially. How come no one's teaching us about how to get ahead financially? And 8 out of 10 families today are living paycheck to paycheck. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, how in the world can you pay off your debt? What's the process for that, man? And so as my eyes became open to our own personal struggles financially, and then as we start to get healthy and make better decisions, I began talking to my coworkers about some of the concepts that I had been learning. And sure enough, great, hardworking professionals just like me were like, dang, Marchel, we're in the same position, because it's so isolating. As you go through financial hardship, man, we just think that we're the only one. It's just me. Then I just want to hide, not deal with things, and just bear down and just try to. But there's help out there, and sometimes, many times we don't know who to talk to and what to say. And man, it's a shame factor, And so part of my message is to empower individuals to want to make those steps, and then to provide that plan to do so. And so the more I spoke to people, even before I got my licenses, and just kind of shared the concepts that I've been learning, and really just sharing the good news about that, man, that there's help, we can do this together. And people are like, man, I do need some help, and for me, that shame began to decrease in my life. Like, man, I'm not the only guy who's out there who's trying to figure these things out financially. And that's what really began to open up my eyes. Once again, good, hardworking individuals, right? Single parents, man. I mean, professionals. We're all in that same boat, especially middle income, where we're just trying to figure out, what do I need to do to get on track? That's really began to open up my eyes.
And now it's an interesting thing, because going through being a coach, I'm talking to people all the time about these ideas, about these concepts of shame and guilt, and how much of this stuff makes you feel like you're by yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of these self-limiting beliefs, they operate in that same level mentally, where we feel like we're the only ones who are going through it. So did you say 8 out of 10 people living paycheck to paycheck?
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
That right there is not a surprising number, honestly, but just in the sense that there are so many people who feel like they're alone, when it sounds like the majority of us are going through that. So that's going to move us kind of into the crux of what we're here to talk about. Your financial planning. Explain to me what it is that you actually help people with, and if you can maybe give me an example of what are you seeing in the most part, and how you're able to help people in that way.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Kelly, because when it comes to it, man, 75% of middle income Americans today do their own financial planning. We're just trying to do the best we can with what I know. And as we can see, and as we can all attest, not that there is no win in comparison, right? So if I'm looking to my left and to my right, trying to see what my neighbors are doing and all the kind of stuff, man, I mean, we always feel like we're the low man on the totem pole, and so what I want to do is to kind of enter into people's lives and to help, once again, to have those scales come off, but not through the vehicle of shame, but through the vehicle of education. And I think that education is liberating, it's empowering to people, where they can kind of sit back and push back from the table and say, wow, this is really good, man. No one ever taught me these concepts. No wonder I'm struggling. No one ever taught me these things before, and it kind of takes that guilt, that shame off of people, and puts it on an imaginary person, or puts it on the system, or puts it on whatever, where it's like, oh man, it's not my fault, right? But now that I know, I can do better, right? We don't do better because we don't know better, right? But when we start to educate people, they can walk in, and that's what I want to focus on. Once again, man, I'm licensed to do a lot of different things, but my fundamental concept is people don't need more products. People need a plan. People need a strategy. And that's what I step in to do, man, is provide that education, right? So that we can empower people to make better financial decisions. And that's what I really want to help people to do, is to be empowered, right? And so I come in and I educate, right? I want to find out, what is it that you want to accomplish financially? What are your limiting beliefs about your financial situation? And let's just take those baby steps to move forward. But we do that through education. Once we can educate, then we can put a plan in place. And that plan for me, it's complimentary, right? I mean, I don't want to charge people for a plan. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a lot of companies, man, they charge you for the plan. It's like, well, I already don't feel good about my situation. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. How in the world can I get ahead financially?
Right. What
Let's
am I
put
paying
that
you
plan
with?
in place, man. Let me come alongside of you and educate you, empower you, and put a plan in place to improve your overall financial situation.
Gotcha. Now, I know you said that you're giving this plan complimentary.
Yeah.
What does something like that typically cost, though?
Oh man, anywhere between $500 to $1,000 just for the plan. Now, understand, I mean, it's and people got to eat. I understand companies, people. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's why my niche market is middle income, hardworking, just individuals, white collar, blue collar, don't matter what color you have, who is like, man, I just want to have, I need to get to the starting line.
Yeah.
Don't put this burden on me where I can't even start the race. Let me at least get to the starting line, right? And that starting line is the plan. And that's why I come alongside of individuals and no, let's do this plan for free, no guilt, no shame, no strings attached, and let's just see where you are. My real quick on that, Kelly, my analogy is kind of corny, but I'm out here in the western suburbs. I believe you're in the Chicago area. But let's say that you and I are about to meet for a coffee or whatnot, man, and I'm about to come to your house and to sit down and have a coffee. And as I'm driving to the house, I get turned around, I get lost, and I call you. I'm, hey Kelly, I think I'm close. I might have took a wrong turn. It's getting dark outside. Brother man's nervous, right? What's probably one of the first questions you would ask me to lead me to your house?
Where are you? Yeah, where you at now?
Where you at, big man? Find out, hey, Marchel, pull over, calm down. I got you. Man, that's exactly what I do. Hey, listen, no guilt, no, calm down. Where are you right now? Let's find out where you are right now, and then let's build a plan to help you get on track financially.
Okay, so walk me through what that looks like then, because I want to demystify some of this. I want to take people out of the idea of what we all, I think, normally go to is that someone's just trying to sell me something. What does it look like when you help somebody build up a financial plan?
Yeah. So it's a strategy, right? And so I think about things like as a house. And if we were going to build a house for you from scratch, the first thing that we would start with is a foundation. And so we want to start with the foundation and build up from there, right? And so part of the overall strategy is really, for me, three things. How can we help you to reduce your expenses, increase your savings, and get out of debt? Reduce expenses, increase savings, and get out of debt, right? If we can focus on that as a starting off point, man, there's so many things that can open up for people, entrepreneurs, business professionals, single parents, where you're gonna help me to reduce my expenses? Absolutely. Yeah, let's see what's coming in, what's coming out, right? Let's just talk through that, right? But once again, because we have this myth and this embarrassment and all this other stuff, let's just piece things together, right? Let's go as slow as you want. I'm a gentleman, right? Let's go as slow as you want to go.
That's true.
This is your pace. This is not my pace. This is your pace. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of professional you want to work with. Someone who's going to go at your pace, not their pace. You know what I mean? Right. And that is so crucial, especially as we're building this plan for individuals, reducing expenses, increasing savings, and getting out of debt.
Okay, perfect. So now I know for me, I'm a business owner. Could you help me go through trying to figure out a way to make to use my income to basically put maybe more toward my business, or is there a particular way that this plan has to work, or how customizable is it, I guess?
Man, yeah. That's a great C word, customizable, right? And so we want to make sure that it's customized for you. So as I sit down with an individual who's even a business owner who's looking for ways to reduce expenses, increase their savings, get out of debt. Hey, Marchel, what advantages do I have as a business owner? And so we can customize that plan for them, where we can say, listen, man, if we were to reduce an expense here, we can put it towards your SEP IRA. We can put it towards your solo 401k. We can do different things and build different strategies based upon where you're trying to go as a business owner, right? I mean, you're so focused on your business that there's maybe a blind spot, right? And so I can come in and help people to figure out what that blind spot is, to help them to advance, right? To help them get things in place, right? I mean, we want to make sure that we're running effectively, building that business. And sometimes we just need some assistance in an area that's not our specialty, right? And that's what I can come alongside and help people to do with that customizable plan. Let's put that in place. I just had a meeting with the business owner a couple of days ago, and there's so many different strategies out there, right? But for this individual, they're looking to start up. They have no investments, you know, and they want to putting a plan together for their business, for an investment strategy. And so we got to take a look at that. You know, we got to take a look at what are their expenses. We got to take a look at what's coming in, what's coming out, what's going to be best for them and potentially their employees, right? Once again, it all circulates around that plan. And it has to be customized because everyone's business looks different.
So you threw a lot on us right there. What about this? Let's say I'm somebody who, and I know this still speaks to the customization, but as a matter of fact, let me ask you this: what are most people lacking? Like, where are you seeing the big problems? Where are the big areas that we all need help?
So on an individual basis, business basis, or just kind of collectively all together?
Well, no, for the individual, on an individual basis.
Okay, all right. Man, I'm going to wave this flag. Maybe through my whole career, I think it's just lack of education. You know, once again, I can get into the specific products if you want me to. If you want me to kind of go into that direction, but man, if you're gonna say something, go ahead, Kelly. But
yeah, well, I'm sorry. I want to know specifically, like, what are you noticing? Because you've been doing this for a while. What are you noticing that people aren't educated about? What are we all missing that we should be educated on?
Yeah. The overall rules of money. All right, such as most of us are taught to keep money in a bank, and that's it, right? And so there's nothing inherently wrong with having some money in a bank, but we all come to the point where we start to realize, like, man, my money's not doing anything in this bank. Right? Even though our money's in the bank, the misconception is that my money is still in the bank. Right? But banks don't keep our money there. Banks invest our money. And so I call this bypass the middleman. So if I'm trying to get ahead financially and I want to see some growth on my money, well, it has to, the light bulb has to come in and say, well, listen, what are banks doing with my money? Well, banks are investing our money, and then they're earning about a 6 to 8 to 10% rate of return on our money. And then what are banks giving the American consumer as a result of that? I don't know if you check your bank statement lately, but what, 0.001% is our rate of return. So the bank is earning 8 to 10%, and we're earning 0.001%. There's something wrong with that, right? And so we say, listen, if you want to have some money in the bank, good. Keep your emergency account in the bank. But when it comes to getting ahead financially, I have to learn how to invest my money. I need to bypass the bank. I need to invest money into the global economy as well, so that I can earn that same 8 to 10% that the banks are earning, right? So we bypass the middleman, right? And so it's concepts like that we have to begin to teach individuals where it's like, no. You keep emergency money in the bank. Outside of that, boom, you can learn how to invest. We walk people through that process. They can learn how to get ahead financially themselves. So it's if we don't have the education to know, oh, wait, I mean, that made sense to me, Marchel, but I never knew what else to do with it. Great. Well, let's talk about that plan for you so we can learn how to bypass the middleman, invest your own money so you can get that higher rate of return. If not, I can continue to be being taken advantage of, right? We have to liberate people through education so they can make better financial decisions so that they can be liberated and then empowered to make better financial choices.
So something like that, you know, because coming up, I was taught save your money. So it was typically put your money in the bank. Now I know that if I went through like an ally, man, I may get 2%. But what does the difference end up being if if I am investing like at the end of my life or at the end of my when I'm trying to pull my retirement, what does the monetary difference look like, man, if I left it in the bank versus, investing in myself?
Yeah. So this is where we're at the point in history, because my little disclaimer that you can put across the scrolling bar. When it comes to investing, I can't guarantee anything. Investing is a calculated risk. Okay. However, based upon the individual I'm working with, we can figure out what kind of risk are you wanting to take. Are you aggressive? Are you moderate? Are you conservative? So we can begin to reduce the risk. But as we invest, we can't necessarily eliminate the risk. Now, there's certain products that are more risk adverse and all that kind of different stuff. But once again, it's all based upon the plan. However, as we look at history, man, we just know that since mutual funds have been around, the S&P 500, man, mutual funds have averaged a 10% rate of return since they've been around, right? And anyone can look at that, right? Anyone can look at that. Google that and say, man, what's the average rate of return for mutual funds, right? What's over the history of the S&P 500? It's like, oh my gosh, 10%. It's average. So we've had some dips, right? We've had some amazing growth, but we want to make sure that as we look at the averages, a 10% rate of return, and the earlier I can begin to invest, the less I have to begin to put in, and then my money can begin to compound over time. Right. But the conversation is different for people. If I'm talking to a 25-year-old, I'm going to educate that 25-year-old. If I'm talking to a 65-year-old, the conversation is totally different. Right. And so that's where the education comes in, and knowing what the audience is as well, to make sure that people are doing what's best for them through the vehicle of education. But once again, we can't get no 10% rate return in the bank. Right. It's just not going to happen. And so if we want our families to begin to get on track financially, our money has to go into the right kind of vehicles that at least gives me an opportunity to get ahead financially.
So obviously there's the one part there where there is obviously risk, and anybody who's invested understands, or at least should understand, that there's an inherent risk of losing money, because that's, and these are things that I was taught in school. Now on the flip side of that, I was still taught that if you want to be risky, you invest. If you want to be safe, you put your money in the bank. But now, if it's a case where, I'm 65, I'm 70 years old, and now I'm ready to retire, that point, whatever number you gave, 0.00, whatever, that's not going to net me very much growth, right? Versus at 10%, man. What am I looking at if I retire and I kept my money in the bank the whole time? Like what's the average difference?
Yeah. So there's a concept called the rule of 72. Okay. The rule of 72. I don't know if Einstein developed this bad boy or Benjamin Franklin, right? Someone came up with the rule of 72. And what the rule of 72 tells us is, if you divide the number 72 into your rate of return, it'll tell you the approximate number of years it takes for your money to double. Okay. So let's say you had $10,000. Now, if you and I were having coffee, I would have a notepad, and I would show you this, right?
Gotcha.
And I don't know if I can share my screen, and I don't really need to. But nonetheless, so if I had $10,000, if it was growing at a 3% rate of return, well, after 48 years, we start to think, man, after 48 years, how much would that $10,000 grow to? Well, let's find out. If I took 72 divided by 3, that $10,000 would double every 20 years.
Okay.
Right? So 72 divided by 3, man, it's gonna go to 20,000, and then 48,000. I'm sorry, 40,000 in 48 years. So in 48 years, that's gonna grow to $40,000. If I do 72 divided by 3, so 72 divided by 3. What is that? That's every, how many years is that?
Give me the math, man. I don't appreciate it.
Let me pull that up. So 72 divided by 3, 24 years. Every 24 years, that money's going to double, right? So 72 divided by 3, every 24 years, that money will double. Here's the thing. If I start to think about that, it's like, man, the bank 0.001%.
Yeah, that's a lot less.
Well, my money, I've been waiting around for a long time. But then again, if we say, well, listen, what if that was a 6% rate of return? What if that same 10,000
Mm-hmm.
at a 6% rate of return? Well, how
Mm-hmm.
often will my money double? Now, if I took 72 divided by 6, every 12 years,
Right.
that money's going to double for us. So at the 48 years, that 10,000 will grow to 160,000.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
how compound interest begins to work for people, right? At a 10 or 12% rate of return, right? That same 10,000. You see what I'm saying? And so now it's going to be over 2.5 million after 40, every 6 years, that money will compound. Okay. So the rule of 72 teaches people, well, how does my money begin to grow? And if it's in a bank, 72 divided by, my money's never going to compound. But I got to put that into a vehicle that allows for it to begin to compound.
Gotcha.
Warren Buffett says, man, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
That's right.
To make sure that people are playing in the same game.
Man, look, you're taking us all over, man. Einstein to Warren Buffett to math. You take us all over.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's personalize this. Let's break this down. Personalize it for you. What is it that you're offering people? What is it that you're able to do for people? Because I know you're a financial coach and you're educating people, but tell me, what do people do? How does that process work? How does it look?
Yeah. So as we move from the analysis, what ends up happening is, I mean, take the doctor, for example. If you walked into the doctor's office and he did that x-ray for you and hey, something's going on, and say, well, let's do an MRI, let's do this, let's do that. They're going to come back with the results of that x-ray or of that MRI. And it's going to show if something's broken or tweaked, it's going to show on that x-ray. Now you can take that x-ray and say, hey, thank you very much. I'll just keep going as I. But if you're in pain, you can say, doctor, hey, this is great, man. Fix me, right, man? Help me, right? Do something, right? And that's how we use the analysis. That's how I use the analysis is listen, let's do this x-ray. Let's do this financial x-ray. Let's see how we can improve your overall financial situation. And so what the analysis is going to show people, once again, one of those three things: how to reduce expenses, increase savings, get out of debt. Maybe it's going to show them, listen, man, we need to start to get on track financially and help you to retire, right? And so how are we going to help you to do that? Is let's open up some mutual funds. Let's open you up a retirement account. You and I can sit down and do that. Our minimum is $25 a month, and we can start to help you to invest $25 a month into a good mutual fund based upon your own personal risk profile, right? And so the analysis showed that there's a shortfall with your retirement, and then it's going to show you who you are as an investor, and then it's going to show you how to properly invest so that you're on track financially, right? Or it's going to show, hey, listen, you are severely underprotected, right? Listen, you have two kids, you have zero life insurance, man. We got to make sure that your family is protected. Heaven forbid something happens to you as a breadwinner, man, you don't want your family out there looking like that, man. Listen, you have a moral responsibility to protect your family. Let's get you a basic policy in place so that your family's protected. Hey, we can do both, right? Let's get your policy in place to protect your income, right? And as I sum that up, man, there's two main fears that people have financially. Two main fears. I mean, what if I die too soon? And leave my family out there struggling? Or what if I live too long,
right,
and outlive my money? You see what I'm saying? And so we got to make sure that people are aware of how to protect themselves in case they die too soon, but also to make sure that they're planning for their retirement and through retirement in case they live too long, right? And so that's really what I want to help to put. We want to implement the plans. We're going to do the free analysis, but that free analysis is going to highlight things that people need to put in place, just like going to the doctor and saying, hey, here's the x-ray results. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what would you like to do? They're going to say, hey, I want to get better. I need to get healed up. Please walk me through what our next steps are.
So now this is the part where the cheap curmudgeon of my soul comes out. Now I'm already strapped for cash, man. Like I'm already out. how is that going to work? Because I don't have any extra money to throw at something new, and if I did, I was probably already throwing it at a new Xbox or something else. So
That's
how,
real.
how,
That's
so
real.
so so what does the education look like when it comes to that, man? Like, how are you
That's
going to
great.
tell me what am I doing different now?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. We want to enter into that pain point, man. And it's not ever my responsibility to tell you what to do and to say, hey, you can go get that Xbox, and hey, now we gotta start eating ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with ramen noodles. I don't know who's on this webinar. But nonetheless, it's looking at that budget, you know what I'm saying? And it's prioritizing and it's saying, hey, where can we listen? I understand that you're not investing right now. I understand you have no life insurance. I understand that you have no college planning for your children. And times are tight. Let's just take a look at your budget. Let's just take a look. And listen, if I can show you some certain ways to reduce your expenses, would you be willing to use the savings and put it towards your planning?
Okay.
And then I want to sit back and hear, Marchel, listen, if you can teach me how to reduce my expenses in any capacity, and then, listen, we want to use some of that maybe to put it towards our, great. Let's take a look at that. And one of the main areas we look at for a lot of our families, man, is the out to eat budget. Now if you look on the screen, I'm a good 255, brother man like to eat, I'm gonna keep it real, right? But where is that budget at? You know what I'm saying? If I can potentially trim, if I can say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, listen, right now you're spending about $250 a month on out to eat money. Would you be open to a different strategy for that? What if we used 150? What if we used 100, 125 on out to eat money? And I help you to work that into your budget. And then we use the extra for protection. We use the extra for retirement. Would you be open to exploring that? And they may say yes. And then I say, well, here's a strategy that I use for a lot of my clients is the envelope strategy. And I didn't invent these things, man. But the envelope strategy for a lot of our clients is I say, listen, we're going to pick a category out of your budget, entertainment, out to eat, clothing, and we're going to get an envelope, just a regular old letter envelope, and we're going to write on that envelope out to eat money. And Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how much, I mean, right now you're spending $250. Like, how much are you willing to, like, $125? Okay. You're going to put $125 in this envelope every month. And you're going to use that for your out to eat money. Okay. Guilt-free, shame-free. Hey kids, when I go into that envelope, pull that cash out and go out to eat. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith, when it's the 25th of the month, all right, and that envelope is gone, we're done. We're done, right? You used it, right? You had fun, but now that's it, right? And you let your kids know, hey, wasn't this month fun? Like, yeah. Well, we use the cash from that envelope, right? So the envelope system is a way to help people to stay in their lane financially, right? To stay in that lane, to be able to live, to be able to spend, to be able to go out to eat and whatever else. Once it's gone because you decided to pay yourself first. You paid the envelope, and then we paid your plan, and now we're moving in the direction of making financial decisions that are healthier to get a person on track.
Man, now you're getting tough because now you're talking about self-control and discipline. And so let me ask you this. In a situation like this, because I love the idea of being able to utilize what I'm already spending. So it's not like a case where I have to dole out any extra cash. It's not a case where I have to do something crazy. I'm using what I already spend. But what type of time frame are we looking at to see a financial turnaround, things like that? I need to get my credit better. What kind of time frame are you looking at before you can start seeing those things improve?
Yeah, and that's where the plan comes in once again, man, because like you mentioned discipline. And man, once again, I'll just use me as an example. I'm a big guy, man. And but if I have a coach, you know what I'm saying? I just this morning, man, truth be told, man, 5:30 this morning, I was in my spin class, man. You know what I'm saying? And I've been doing spin by myself. But today I had my coach, Kathy. Kathy, you're out there. Thank you, Kathy. You know what I'm saying? You helped revolutionize my life, Kathy. Because I can go to Kathy's class and just listen to Kathy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And just listen to her orders, listen to her direction. And I just got to be willing to listen and learn and do what Kathy instructs me to do, right? And as a result of that, I can have faster results if I'm willing to listen to Kathy's instructions. Now, if I'm not coachable, you know, I'm kind of wasting my time. You know, I mean, even in Kathy's class. And I see the same thing with our coaching, with our financial coaching, man. It's most people that I meet with, man, they are ready. They've been looking, they've been hurting financially. And they've been needing a coach, you know, and that's where Coach Rogers comes in. Like, listen, you know, stop fretting. You know, I'm going to walk you through the process, you know, and they just been looking for someone that they can trust to walk them through without the guilt, without the shame, and without throwing the money at. No, let's just walk through the point. And as a result of that, based upon the person that we're coaching, we'll determine the results that they have. You know what I mean? And if people are looking for results fast, man, they like, hey, listen, I'm ready, coach, man. Just tell me what to do. Give me the plan. I've been looking for this. Boom, man. And so, you know, the results vary based upon the individual I'm working with. But what I found, man, most people, man, they're ready. They've been looking. They've been hurting for way too long. And now they're just looking for a coach to walk them through the process, man. And that's really what I help to do.
Man, that sounds beautiful. That sounds beautiful. One of the things that I get happening a lot is that, especially right now, because there's so much sort of we got the COVID going on. We got Black Lives Matter. We got social injustice. We got murder hornets. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Are you seeing right now? Are people more or less, I guess, willing or ready to get started on change?
Yeah. Man, that's really good, man. And our heart goes out to individuals right now who are in that place, who are struggling financially, who are sick, you know, due to the pandemic, man, who are just have this overall anxiety and fear for all the injustice going on in our communities right now, man. It is a tough season, man. And so I want to acknowledge that, man. I mean, I want to acknowledge the fact that, man, people are just right now, a lot of us, man, are hurting, you know, are really hurting. And it's not the season to put things in order financially for them, right? It's not the season to begin to, hey, coach, I'm ready to rock and roll. Like, man, coach, I'm hurting, man. Like, I just ace, you know? And so I want to meet people right where they are. What I have noticed, man, is the finances are on people's mind. You know, it's on people's mind right now, man. And the USA Today did a survey, did an article, man, and 86% of middle income families today are saying, man, COVID has affected us financially. You know, 86%, man. And so we know that there's people right now that are hurting, that are looking for help. And that's where we come in and we press into that, man. And so, you know, even you know, as I'm making introductions and I'm getting introduced to new individuals right now, man, I want to figure out, where are you right now, you know, and man, there's people who are just not in the season, you know, and so I'm very sensitive towards that, man. You know, I can't say that I've done any training on emotional intelligence and stuff like that, man. I read a book too, but man, I am sensitive towards that, man. Maybe that's due to my faith, and so I just want to meet people where they are, you know. But finances are on people's mind, you know, and they're looking for that help, and they're looking for those answers, and I want to move into that season with them as well.
Gotcha. With all of that kind of going on, man, are you? Is there? So a lot of people have lost jobs. Obviously, you said 86% have been affected. I'm working with a lot of people, man, who have lost jobs. A lot of people who are in those spots. Is there a way to protect? I mean, you can't fully plan for a COVID, but is there a way to protect yourself against job loss, against against these unforeseen things. I know all of the bigger companies, they do it all the time, but if there is a way for protection for the individuals, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. And the same survey that I mentioned, and I think it's like 72% who are affected with financial through COVID say that they feel more prepared after meeting with the financial professional. So in other words, hey, I met with a financial professional, COVID hit, I'm affected, but emotionally I'm in a good place because I have a plan and a strategy.
Gotcha.
And so you mentioned it, man. I mean, sitting down with individuals, once again, COVID took us all by surprise. I mean, it's like, just any type of uncertainty like that.
Yeah.
So what happens is, man, we want to look at people's plan right now, even in the midst of COVID, because there are things that people can do. There's ways that, what COVID has taught us is that I better have an emergency account. Like I need to, I need to have something set aside so that I'm not tapping into my 401ks because I'm furloughed right now. You know what I'm saying? And those are things right now, man, that we want to once again put out in the forefront, man. Let's work to put aside an emergency account so we're not tapping into our investments. Man, it's taught us different things. Hey, I need that protection, man. I lost my job, and now I lost all my benefits. I lost, man. I have no life insurance. I have no health insurance, and I don't know what to do with my old 401k. What are my options for that? And so each person has different options, even within that. Based upon your age, how long you work there, are you vested? I mean, so there's different strategies that people have. Then once again, if we're not educated on what my options are, I just kind of throw my hands up and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. We kind of go in that position, and so I'm there to help people to move out of that and say, well, let's just take a look. Let's just take a look and see where we are. Let's kind of assess the damage, and then let's move forward from there.
Yeah, with times being what they are and being tough like this, man, it's definitely good to have any sort of plan in place that you can. So all of that makes a lot of sense. Moving forward. Well, actually, we're getting close up on the time. So let me do this. Where can people reach out to you? I want to make sure we get that in right now.
Yeah. So I can throw my email. If you want the email, shoot. Yes. My office line. I have a website.
Hey, let's do them all.
Okay. All right. So how do we get that out to you, man?
Look, when I post this video, I'm gonna add the links in there. But here, for right now, just go ahead and tell us.
Okay. So you can always hit me up on my email. I'll actually give you my personal email, which is my first name, last name @gmail.com. So that's Marchel Rogers @gmail.com. It's a really simple way that people can get to me and even just ask questions, about different things, man. My company website is primerica.com/Marchel Rogers. And so that'll get you to my website where you can even access my email there as well. And once again, you can just ask a question. Hey, Marchel, you mentioned something about a free analysis. How do I figure that out? You can hit me up on LinkedIn as well. So you can type in my name in the search, and there I'm on LinkedIn as well. And so I will confess, man, I am not really big on social media at this point. Man, it's just been trying to balance all those things, man, and that's an excuse, right? It's just really an excuse, man. But I know me, man, and I try not to waste time. And man, I've so anyway, that's to be continued, man. Maybe next time we do an interview, I'll have an Instagram and TikTok. You never know, right? So it's
Look, that is all right. That is all right. I know we met on LinkedIn, so it seems to be working enough. Let's see, make sure I got you right. That was Primerica, right?
Yeah, PRI.
Except I think that it only supposed to be
one slash.
Let's see, and also you said there was a phone number where they can reach you.
Yeah. Let me so that's a 331-201-2672. Yeah, that'll be my office line.
2672. So to make sure everybody has that too.
Yeah.
because what I'm assuming, man, is that if things are the way they seem, people are having a really rough time right now. I want to try to make sure we're opening up this education, and we're giving people the tools that they need, especially with the fact that this analysis is free. I know you personally, so I know that you're not going to jump down people's throat and try to force feed them stuff that they don't need, and that sort of thing. You're a good guy, so you're trying to actually help people too. So I want to make sure we get all of your contact information out. And like I said, I'll make sure I throw this on once I post this information too. So before we end off, man, I want to get some words of wisdom from you. So can you give us the main things we need to know? Give us something that's going to be really helpful to our guests.
Yeah, really, I'll probably just say more than anything, man, the encouragement. It doesn't matter where we've been. It doesn't necessarily matter where we are, man. It matters, where do we want to go? And sometimes it's hard to get out of a hole emotionally, physically, man, spiritually, but there's help, there's help out there, and we have to use good discernment and good wisdom. But man, we can start fresh, and that's not false hope. If a person's in their 60s or 70s and they're like, man, I don't, right, but there are still options for people, and it's really just about what those options are, being open to learning new things, and then being willing to take the next right step, and that's how I live my life, man. I mean, every morning I pray that serenity prayer, and it just helps me kind of even cleanse my brain. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, right? The wisdom to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? And that's, man, that's really where it's at, man. And so I want to just encourage people to let them know, man, there's help, there's hope, and we're available. I'm available to walk people through a process to get them on track financially, man. And I just hope that's encouraging to people. And I appreciate your endorsement, Kelly, when you say, hey, I'm not going to jump down there when, and people may have had bad experiences, man, from people in the past financially, or wide, or what, and I'm just here to say, we apologize. Hey, I don't know, and it's a new day, right? And I'm here to help people to move into a new direction.
All right. You guys heard it here. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, man. Before I go, I do have to ask you the one question, man, that I have to ask everybody before I get out of here. Especially considering what you're trying to do as far as helping people. At the end of the day, man, last day on earth, you're on your deathbed. I want to know, how do you know that you won? How do you know that you've had a good life? How do you know that it's something that at the last day you're smiling, you're happy about what you did? How does that look?
Yeah, man, it's all about making that investment, man. We talked a lot about financial investments. At the end of the day, the value of our life will always be determined by how much of my life I gave away. I want to be known as a man that gave his life away to other people, right? Because I think that that investment into people, right, will really be what lasts forever. You see, and that's what I want the people who know me the most, right, to love me the best, right? And that starts in my own house, man. I mean, if you love me but my kids can't stand me, that's a problem.
Right.
That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? And so I want to start in my house, man. And I want my kids to say, hey, Kelly, man, I hear how you explain my dad, man, but you don't, man, let me share with you why we love our dad. You know what I'm saying? My wife's like, hey, Kelly, here, you know what I'm saying? And so I want to start in my house, man. The people who know me the most, man, they love me the best. You know what I'm saying? And the value of our lives will always be determined by how much of my life I gave away. And I want to have peace with that, man, and to realize that, man, that's my win. My win is that right there, Kelly, where I can, I gave it away. I gave it away, man. And that's the investment that I want to make in people's lives.
All right, you guys, again, y'all heard it here. This is Marchel Rogers. I will be posting all of his contact info. Make sure you guys get in touch with this man. If you have any questions financially, I know I'm going to be giving him a call with a million questions already. So,
That's
uh,
good.
look, I want to thank you so much for showing up today, man. Thank you so much for the information. I'm going to go ahead and play my quick outro, and you just hang on, and I'll talk to you backstage before we go.
You got it. Appreciate your time, Kelly.
All right. See you guys. Everybody have a great one.
Good night.
Ta-da!